I have a question for you about Joe Biden, which will be tough. A tough one to answer. So the question I have for you is, when is Joe Biden telling the truth? We've obviously cataloged Joe Biden and his lies on this program, but when does Joe Biden tell the truth? You know, at some point, you got to assume that the lack of synapses in the brain, the deterioration of the brainstem, and the dementia is going to result in the guy having Freudian slips, right? So-called because, well, it's when you're not supposed to say the truth or what you truly believe or what you're actually doing, but you just do it, right? You just do it. And you can find moments like this with Joe Biden where he's so tired, he's so beleaguered, he's so worn down that like the veneer of lying that has plastered his entire political career, it just starts to crack and crumble. Clips like this is Joe Biden at the White House, unrelated to our first story, but a clip at the White House, something that we talk about all the time, of course, Joe Biden fraud. Joe Biden sitting at the White House with the Prime Minister of India and all of his various, all the various apparatchiks and Obama, the Obama apparatchiks that surround, the phalanx of Obama staffers that surround Joe Biden and force all of Barack Obama, the real president of the United States, running the country from his sweatpants with his iPhone in a mansion down the street from the White House in Colorado. This guy, Joe Biden, straight up saying, with cameras on, I've sold more state secrets than I can count. It's like, he just says it, right? He just says it. Watch.
I was just thinking, anyway, I started off without you. And I sold a lot of state secrets and a lot of very important things that we shared.
I've sold a lot of state secrets, a lot of very important things that I've shared. This is Joe Biden's exact quote. Pull the White House transcript. The White House transcript. I've sold a lot of state secrets, a lot of very important things I've shared, says Joe Biden. Now, as we covered yesterday, that's true. Like, at what point do you start believing Joe Biden when he says things? When Joe Biden says that he's created the most sophisticated voter fraud organization in American history before the 2020 election, at what point do you start taking him at his word? Can somebody please explain to me this clip? I'm going to play it for you. Not doctored, of course. We would never do that. This is the clip of Joe Biden very proudly bragging that he's created the most sophisticated voter fraud organization in American history. Watch.
We have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Hey, libs, am I supposed to believe Joe Biden? You like Joe Biden, right? So am I supposed to believe him? Can I take him at his word when he says he's sold state secrets and he's created a comprehensive and inclusive voter fraud organization? Can I believe him? Am I allowed to believe that clip? Or do I just have to believe all the other clips? Like, which Joe Biden do you want me to believe? Joe Biden number 2 or Joe Biden number 6? Which one did you trot out today? Which guy got the injection today? Like, at what point am I just allowed to say, yeah, okay, it's pretty obvious that you are committing, that what is happening in this country is the broken election system, and we'll get into why it's broken and who broke it and what emergencies they used to break our elections, but it stands to reason that the less secure, the less safe the balloting process is, that the more fraud you are going to have. And we will prove it on this show. And when Joe Biden says inclusive, what does he mean by that? Well, what he means by that is Democrats committing fraud against other Democrats. That's what we're going to start the show off with today. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is surveillance footage of fraud occurring. Now, how do I know that? Is it some Dinesh D'Souza, Alex Jones documentary that created it? It's a 2000 mule. Well, yeah, actually. But instead of this being something that was, put together by Dinesh, who's awesome and was on the show last week, this is footage from a Democrat-controlled Connecticut county where a Democrat judge played this footage in a courthouse and just recently slammed his gavel through the table, saying the amount of fraud in this election is shocking and bone-chilling and is so egregious that I'm ordering a brand new election. This was a Democrat primary election. These are Democrats against Democrats. Democrats using drop boxes and unlimited mail-in balloting against their fellow Democrats. Now, am I allowed to talk about that? Because it's happening in a Democrat county, can I talk about these things? Am I allowed to do this? Is this federal is it all make-believe? Is the footage you're seeing right here, did this not happen? Because a judge just played this in a county and had that lady up as a witness. And what did this lady say? This lady was asked directly by the judge, who told you to do this? And the lady pled the fifth the entire time. She pled the fifth. She said, I'm not gonna answer. Connecticut judge orders new election after surveillance video shows possible ballot stuffing. Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and rip through this actual AP article. There's a lot of articles here, but we just use the AP to rub their faces in it a little bit. Just a little extra salt there in the wound. All right? Here we go. From the Associated Press. A judge on Wednesday tossed out the results of a Democratic primary in Connecticut's largest city and ordered a brand new election, citing surveillance videos showing people stuffing multiple absentee ballots into outdoor collection boxes, unmonitored drop boxes for ballots. The ruling came just 6 days before the general election, creating a perplexing scenario in which voters will decide on the outcome of Bridgeport, Connecticut's mayoral election, and then be asked to return to the polls later at an undetermined date to choose the rightful Democrat nominee for that same race. What the hell? I mean, again, this is ass backwards, but this is what happens when you break your systems, when you break your election systems. In his ruling, Superior Court Judge William Clark, who is a hero, addressed the incongruity by saying that he lacked the authority to postpone or cancel the general election. However, he said he'd seen enough evidence of malfeasance in order to rerun the election with the challenger and the defeated challenger. Listen to this. Listen to this quote. This is such an important quote. Okay, hear this. This is from a Democrat judge in a Democrat county in a ruling against Democrats. The volume of ballots is so mishandled in such that it calls the result of the primary election into serious doubt and leaves the court unable to determine the legitimate result of this election. The judge cited statistics showing abnormally large numbers of absentee ballots that were cast in certain voting districts and video evidence showing multiple people shoving stacks of ballots into drop boxes in violation of state laws. Here we go. The judge, once again, from his dais, ordering. The videos are shocking to the court and should be shocking to all parties. Federal judge wrote. Superior Court Judge, my correction, William Clark wrote. So now, with the judge's decision, they're going to go forward and they're going to try and run an election with a guy who, according to this judge, said won through fraud. So they'll elect a person who won via fraud. That's what Democrats have created. That is the new electoral system here. How are the people of Bridgeport supposed to react to this? The man on the ballot, according to this superior judge, won through shocking fraud. The volume of ballots so mishandled is such a way that it calls into question the result of the election, says the judge. This court is unable to determine the legitimate result due to the amount of fraud. Again, we'll play you the video. Here's a video of a lady stuffing ballot after ballot after ballot, stacks of ballots, according to the judge. Some people don't want you to see this. By the way, big shout out to the Gateway Pundit who published this footage. Here you go. You know, because 5 a.m. in the morning is totally a normal time to drop off ballots when you have a bag of them. This is totally what happens. Let's just talk through this video. So this lady starts at 5 a.m. in the morning with a giant bag of ballots, runs in and shoves stacks of them. Then she walks over to the corner, turns around, and retrieves more stacks of ballots and shoves them into the drop box. There you go. Here you go. There she goes again, walking presumably off camera. And then here she comes making her third deposit of ballots. Boy, she's got a busy morning ahead of her. There you go. More ballots into this drop box. An important reminder, these are Democrats against Democrats. These are Democrats running against Democrats, committing fraud against Democrats. Here's your official state of Connecticut ballot drop box. Hey, maybe unaccountable ballot drop boxes is a bad idea. Well, there you go. Here she is, again, working for the county. You want third world elections in this country? You want Kim Jong-un, Saddam Hussein-style elections? Here she goes again. Boy, she's an employee. Incredible. She's an employee at the county seat building. And here she is using her county paycheck to stuff ballots. Incredible. So, Wanda, that lady's name is Wanda Pataki. She is the vice chair of the Bridgeport Democratic Town Committee. So she is a high-ranking Democrat official. In court, Wanda, who you saw stuffing stacks of ballots there, exercised her Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and declined to answer any questions. She is a former city council member, and ladies and gentlemen, she is a high-up Democrat official in the county. Wow. And she refused to answer questions. How'd you get the ballots? Who printed off the ballots? Where'd you get all these votes? It's illegal in Connecticut to deliver for anyone other than the voter to drop a ballot. How'd you get these? Really curious. I think we have a little more insight into how this all happens. Let's move from Connecticut to the blue state of New Jersey. In New Jersey now, multiple Democrats have been charged with fraud for rigging their 2020 election. Incredible. Truly and utterly remarkable. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and read through. Paterson Council Speaker Alex Mendez stole mail-in ballots along with his wife and two other campaign supporters to rig the 2020 election. This is from New Jersey. New allegations that are far broader and more serious than when he was first charged in 2021. The criminal conspiracy was done to get himself elected in 2020, according to State Attorney General, who said that Mendez and his wife and two campaign supporters stole mail-in ballots from residents' drop boxes, filled some out, and then tried to mail in fake ballots in their efforts to win. What are you reading from, Benny? InfoWars? No, I'm reading to you from NBC News. Investigators said that in all, hundreds of ballots were stolen. Then those ballots were opened. Then those ballots had their votes checked by the candidate himself. Then, if the candidate saw that you voted for someone other than him, he threw away your vote. Then the candidate replaced votes for himself into your envelope and voted for you. Oh my God. Investigators said that in all, hundreds of ballots were stolen, falsified, and improperly delivered during the pandemic when mail-in balloting was how votes were cast. Oh, interesting little note there. So they used mail-in balloting and an emergency pandemic in order to break forever our American electoral system and the series of checks and balances that we have on the security of our elections. Oh, interesting. Again, ladies and gentlemen, how many times do the conspiracy theorists need to be right? Here's from the Attorney General's website directly, in case you're wondering, like, who's going after this? Is it True the Vote? Is it a right-wing conspiracy sites trying to destroy American democracy? Nope. Here's the Attorney General of New Jersey, Matthew J. Platkin. Man is a Democrat. And this man is charging, announced today that the Paterson City Council president, Alex Mendez, has been brought up on new charges, fraud charges, and felonies in connection with election fraud cases after investigators determined the defendant personally collected ballots, oversaw the fraudulent mailing of ballots, while members of his campaign stole ballots from residential mailboxes and discarded the ballots that did not cast a vote for their candidate. It's also alleged that the defendant tampered with witnesses to avoid prosecution. Wow. Well, what do you know? Let's go ahead and read through the charges, shall we? Scroll down. Here are the charges that this Democrat is being charged with. Conspiracy to commit election fraud, fraud in casting mail-in votes, unauthorized possession of ballots, tampering with public records, falsifying and tampering with records, forgery, conspiracy and tampering with fabricating physical evidence, soliciting and procuring or assisting in unlawful registration or voter violation, conspiracy to commit witness tampering. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a hell of a stack of charges right there. These are second degree, third degree, and fourth degree charges. This man could spend the rest of his life in prison, and should. That's a good start. How about the rest of them? When do we get the rest? Okay, so now we've shown you exactly how the system works. They take the unaccountable, untraceable ballots from the mailboxes. They open said ballot. They take the vote out of the ballot. Okay, they take the ballot out of your mailbox. They take your vote out of your Here's how you voted. Okay, if they don't like the way you voted, then they remove your ballot, they rip it up, they throw it in the trash. Then, go read. This is exactly what happened in New Jersey. Go read. Then they take their marker, they take another ballot, who knows how they got it, would love to figure that one out, and they do a big mark. There you go. Big X. They vote for themselves, they fold that back up, they put it into your envelope, and then they mail it in. Not a conspiracy, a literal felony charge against a Democrat in New Jersey.